Yo, what's good? It's your man 100 Grand Ross for The Rock Never Stops. Today, damn it, I gotta do this video. The Odd Couple on Fox Sports. Yo, these two brothers, man, as much as I love to support brothers out here doing their thing, man, they sometimes get on my nerves, man. They sound like old uncles who swear everything was better in their day. But I gotta do a video about this. They are discussing, they just dropped a video discussing Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic all agreeing, right? Three of the top 6 best players in the NBA today, claiming that the international game is far harder than the NBA game. And I want to dive into that in this video. If you like the video, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Yo, I'm having a lot of fun with this channel. I really love hearing all y'all's thoughts on these topics. You know, look, this is what I want to start off by saying. What Luka, Giannis, and Jokic are saying is 100% true. They have a smaller court size. I'm sorry, not a smaller court size, but a smaller spacing size, because the three-point line is smaller than the NBA three-point line. But they also have certain defensive fundamentals where they understand guys are going to slide over and help all the time. This is something that Nikola Jokic talks about. You don't have to worry about if there's going to be help. There's always a help defender because they understand basic basketball fundamentals, right? Giannis also talks about how they play more as a collective team. Luka also echoes this sentiment that it's 5 guys, not just 1 or 2 guys trying to beat you the whole time, right? Now, this is the thing that I get frustrated with the Odd Couple about, Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, is that they always, and I mean emphatically, say Jordan was the greatest player ever. But look, this is the point of this video. Jordan is the reason for why the game is what it is today. Michael Jordan is the reason why the NBA has become this heliocentric style of play, meaning that a team is centered around mainly one guy dominating and controlling the ball, controlling the plays, taking the overwhelming majority of all the shots, and everything is funneled through that one person. Jordan was the one that started that. You have to remember, Magic, Bird, these guys were just as renowned for their facilitating abilities as they were their scoring. Now, you could probably flip it a little bit where Magic, of course, we all know one of the greatest facilitators of all time, but Bird was a great passer, right? Magic Johnson was able to score, really good scorer, right? Bird was an amazing scorer. And yet, both of those teams dominated in their eras because they played together. Even the bad boy Pistons, who had a solid run for a few years in the middle of both of those teams' dominant dynasty eras, right? Played as a collective team, moving the ball around, passing one guy to the next. Remember, one of the biggest critiques of Michael Jordan early in his career was they said, look, ball hogging is not going to allow you to win in the NBA. Having one guy take all the shots, make all the plays, as exciting as it may be, you can't win that way. That was the critique, because guys who were that type of a player were not able to dominate. One of the greatest examples of that was Wilt Chamberlain, probably one of the greatest, most dominant scorers of all time, right? An absolute freak. You want to talk about a freak? We got Greek Freak. He's got nothing on Wilt. Wilt was like Greek Freak, but 7'2" with more post moves and footwork and probably more athleticism, right? So, and he was only able to win what? 1 championship? 2? Right? He couldn't beat out Bill Russell Celtics, who won perpetually almost every single year. Why? Because they played as a team. They played collectively. And what's funny about this is that guys who claim somebody is the greatest of all time, who shapes the game in a way that you're saying is harming the NBA, it sounds a little hypocritical. Right? Because these are the same guys that'll demonize a LeBron James for saying that, hey, he doesn't want to take the last shot. He passes it. LeBron is overwhelmingly criticized for his claims of, hey, I just make the right play. If a guy is open, I pass the ball, right? That is 100% how the international game is played. You make the right play, right? But because he's not willing to dominate and take every last second shot like Kobe wanted to, or like Jordan did, right? All of a sudden now he can't be the greatest, right? And and this is the thing. It's like you have to understand your argument. When you're an NBA analyst, when you are a critic, you got to know who you are, right? These guys claim to be this old school. Oh, we're from the old school. No, actually, what you are is you're from your school. You just want to think that your team, your school is the best. Remember in high school, when high school kids were like, "Oh, our school is the greatest. Oh, yours sucks because basically we go to this school." Right? Because y'all are from that era, you think that's the greatest era. The reality is there were flaws in your era, and we all saw it. Everyone ignores all the complaints about Michael Jordan up until he started winning, up until the bad boy Pistons got too old, Magic Johnson contracted HIV, Larry Bird's back went bad, and all of a sudden Michael Jordan arises. But if you listen to all those other guys, between Bird, Magic, Isaiah especially, you listen to Kareem, you listen to even Dr. J, all of them were saying Michael Jordan was good, but the greatest? But the greatest, his era, you don't really have anybody that competes with the era that came before him, right? And I would dare to say in the era after, right? And so when you really think about what the NBA is today, it's the house that Michael Jordan built. And so now if we got a whole bunch of, isolating players who are dominating the ball, whether it's James Harden, Luka Doncic, whether it was Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, right? This style of play came from him. He built it. He set the foundation for it. He showed, hey, you know what? You can win championships with one guy dominating the ball. And that's what he did. He dominated the ball. Scottie was never going to get a last second shot, no matter how open he was, right? Steve Kerr, John Paxson, they only got it because Phil Jackson begged him and said, look, man, if you would just trust your team one time, trust them one time, you guys can begin to win. And so he, and I would say early on, begrudgingly trusted his teammates. How do I know that? Because he was punching Steve Kerr in the face in practice during that time, right? Having it out with Horace Grant, who was probably one of the few dudes who was like, bro, you ain't going to do it with me. You're going to have to see me. And yet we want to sit here and we want to praise him for being the greatest of all time. You can't have it both ways. You can't say you don't like the game, how it's evolved from this guy, and at the same time say he's the greatest, right? You either say he's the greatest and you accept the house that he builds in terms of the style of play that came from his era in the NBA, or you say, you know what, I don't like the style of play, and he's not the greatest for these obvious critiques. Right now in the NBA, look, there are certain coaches who understand, and I would say, if you really look at it, guys like J.B. Bickerstaff and, Brad Stevens was really known for this, Rick Carlisle, and you have a lot of other really good coaches who understand, look, we all know the most effective style of play is 5 guys playing together, maximizing their talents and skills. We all know that the least effective is one guy, right? A heliocentric offensive style where one guy is dominating all the action. It's too easy to stop. Once we frustrate this one guy, or we force him to beat us and take away everybody else, it just makes it too easy and too simple. And we saw this when the NBA had their the U.S. had the Olympic team, and they lost for the first time in a few years. Is it a coincidence that it happened right after the Jordan era? Nope. Because the style of play that we thought that we could do doesn't work in the international play. It doesn't measure up. 1 against 5 doesn't work. And slowly teams are starting to figure that back out. But when this argument came up, it was frustrating to hear. It was real frustrating. Because the reality of it is that the NBA does need to grow up in a lot of ways. And a lot of it also starts with how we structure things early on. Remember, in international play, they have club teams from childhood, meaning that they have the ability to earn money professionally at almost every stage that you play a sport. I mean, it don't matter if you were in the 5th grade. If you're in the 5th grade and you balling out against high school seniors, 17, 18-year-olds, you might be getting paid, right? You have the ability to develop your game, to learn the game of basketball at a high level, and it's completely separated from scholastics. How you do in science with dissecting that frog has nothing to do with your ability to perform and learn the game of basketball and get paid for it, compensated for it, and play in an environment where you can develop that skill and that talent. Your ability to write an essay should not affect your ability to participate in sports and develop that talent. Your ability to do mathematical equations, no matter how important that can be in life, right? Calculus should not impact if you can develop your athletic abilities. And because international spaces outside of the U.S., pretty much everywhere throughout the world outside of the U.S. gets this concept, right? They develop far faster. So it's been something that there's this house that Jordan builds, and it becomes the perfect storm to really begin to erode the NBA game. It really begins to erode it because you don't have the infrastructure to ensure that players develop and learn the game. They just took it for granted that players are going to be learning. But after Jordan, it was like, yo, hey, guys don't have to learn how to cut off the ball, make post-entry passes, set solid screens. They don't know how to have to backdoor. They don't know how to flare off of a screen versus curl, right? They don't have to understand hedging, right, and boxing out. You can just be great at dribbling and shooting, and you can be the man. Well, congratulations, Michael Jordan. If that's what makes you the greatest, then y'all can take the argument. Let me know what you all think in the comment section. I'll holler at y'all next time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm out. Peace.